You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
Savage! I'm a savage! Oh!
There are so many witnesses. There are so many victims.
I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get!
Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at.
Is there anything that you may want to confess tonight before you go in?
You try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners.
I keep everything right here.
There you go.
Or right here.
There you go.
Let's just go get some girls.
Man after my heart, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
My number.
Yeah.
Is this a sociopath or is this somebody that, his soul?
I never liked him. I met him a bunch of times, but I never liked him.
Because P. Diddy be wanting the body. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no.
About my party, they're gonna be shutting them down. They're gonna probably be arresting me.
When they come to one of my parties, this is what happens to them. I put them to sleep.
I mean, the after party. You need locks on the doors.
No, I know about them.
A lot of heat.
Physically, the place has to be hot.
You don't have no air conditioning.
No air conditioning.
No.
Why is that?
Heat affects the alcohol, and it also affects, everybody gets a little bit more comfortable and loose. Builds up a nice little sweat.
How do I address you?
You can call me Love.
Imagine waking up one day and the very foundation you built your belief system on crumbles beneath you. For decades, Sean Diddy Combs was untouchable, a king among mortals, a figure embodying hustle, success, and cultural power. He wasn't just a man, he was a symbol. The Bad Boy Records empire, his billion-dollar deals with Diageo and Revolt TV, his Lifetime Achievement Awards. These were the bricks of a legacy that seemed impenetrable. But here's the thing about legacy, it's fragile. All it takes is one crack, one accusation, and suddenly the whole structure collapses like a house of cards. You see, for years we believed in the myth of Diddy. We wanted to believe in the fairy tale of his rise from nothing to everything, a narrative of grit, hustle, and endless success. But now we're confronted with a darker truth. The allegations that have surfaced, stories of sexual assault, abuse, and manipulation, are like a cold splash of water to the face. It forces us to ask what happens when the hero of the story is revealed as the villain all along. This is the story of Sean Combs, a man who rose to unimaginable heights only to have it all come crashing down piece by piece. And like any good story, it's about to get a lot more complicated. Sean John Combs was born on November 4th, 1969, in Harlem, New York City. He was raised by his mother, Janice Combs, after his father, Melvin L. Combs, was murdered in 1974 when Sean was just 3 years old. Melvin Combs was a big-time drug dealer for Harlem mobsters and ultimately died in a drug deal gone wrong. Meanwhile, Janice took on 3 jobs as a teacher, substitute teacher, and escort. As an escort, it's been reported that Janice would take clients back home, sometimes in front of young Sean, exposing him to adult activities at an early age. It makes you wonder, is this where the idea of freak offs subconsciously originated for Diddy? Over the years, Combs has gone by various names, including Puffy, Puff Daddy, P, Diddy, and even Love, which he legally made his middle name in 2021. He earned the nickname Puffy in high school because of his habit of puffing out his chest to seem bigger. Combs majored in business administration at Howard University, organizing weekly dance parties and running an airport shuttle service while attending classes. He eventually dropped out to pursue an internship at Uptown Records, leading to a talent director position. Combs rapidly rose to the level of vice president, producing key artists for Uptown, but he left the company in the early 1990s after being fired by Andre Harrell.
I let Puff go. For the whole time he was let go, he was always on payroll. I never stopped paying him until he found his next spot. His artists were always still getting per diem, because I didn't do it to hurt him, but I knew it was time for him to grow.
Combs founded his own record company, Bad Boy Records, which was more than just a label, it was a revolution. Combs had a vision to reshape the sound of hip-hop, and with Biggie Smalls at his side, he did just that. The hits came like an unstoppable wave, juicy big popper, mo money, mo problems. Suddenly, Sean Puffy Combs wasn't just making music, he was creating culture. He became a legend, not just because of his talent, but because he believed he could be more than just an industry player, he could be the industry. But here's the thing about legends, they often start to believe in their own immortality. And when you think you're untouchable, you stop seeing the cracks forming beneath your feet. As Combs expanded his empire into fashion, liquor, and television, he evolved from a mogul into a monarch. He wasn't just successful, he was royalty. Every room he walked into, every deal he made, reinforced the idea that he was indestructible, that his empire would stand forever. But here's the kicker: what happens when the king forgets he's human? When the power he wields so confidently begins to morph into something darker, more insidious. When the empire he's built starts to crack under the weight of its own unchecked ambition. The answer to that question is where our story truly begins. Because while the world watched Diddy ascend to power, few were prepared for the fall waiting around the corner. And trust me, what's coming next, you won't want to miss it. Success does funny things to people. Intoxicating. Like a drug one hit, and suddenly you're invincible. But here's the dirty little secret no one wants to discuss: with great power comes great temptation. In Sean Combs, he wasn't immune. In fact, he seemed like the perfect example of how power can corrupt absolutely. Behind the velvet ropes, the VIP passes, and the red carpets, a shadow was growing around him, one that no chart-topping hit could ever conceal. For every champagne bottle popped, there was a whispered rumor. For every deal signed in broad daylight, whispers lingered about what happened after the parties, away from the cameras.
I keep everything right here. There you go. Or right here.
In Sean Diddy Combs, legal troubles began over 33 years ago, in 1991. According to a November 2023 lawsuit, Combs and R&B singer Aaron Hall allegedly sexually assaulted an unnamed victim and her friend after a music industry event, then allegedly beat her several days later when confronted. Another incident from 1991, also filed in a November 2023 lawsuit, alleges that Combs drugged, sexually assaulted, and videotaped 19-year-old Joy Dickerson Neal after it to Tate. Neal recently came forward, accusing the music icon of drugging and raping her in 1991. On November 23, 2023, Neal filed a lawsuit in the Manhattan Supreme Court, just before the New York State Adult Survivors Act deadline. Alongside the allegations of sexual assault, she claims Diddy engaged in revenge porn, sharing explicit footage of her with others in the music industry. Neal asserts that the circulation of this video severely impacted her health, reputation, and career. Her lawsuit follows a similar action by Cassie Ventura, filed on November 16, 2023, which we'll cover in future episodes. Neal's journey began in 1970 in New York. Raised by her mother after her father passed away when she was 6 months old, her mother instilled strong moral values in her, and in 1987 she enrolled at Syracuse University, majoring in psychology. To support herself, she worked at Wells Restaurant in Harlem and later as a receptionist at Apple One Talent Agency. She also collaborated on music videos for Grammy-winning artists like A Tribe Called Quest, working as a location scout with cameraman Gary Brewer. Her lawsuit outlines a harrowing account of sexual assault, humiliation, and emotional trauma, allegedly at Combs' hands. At that time, they were part of the same social circle and had collaborated on the music video for Straight from the Soul by Finesse and Sinkis. Though she initially resisted Combs' advances due to rumors of his misogynistic behavior, she eventually agreed to a dinner date on November 3, 1991. Neal alleges that Combs drugged her drink while she was in the restroom at Wells Restaurant. She claims he then took her to a recording studio and later to his home, where he assaulted her, leaving her with severe pelvic pain. Traumatized, she didn't seek medical help or report the incident, a common response among sexual assault survivors, as studies show that 63% of rape victims never file a report. Neal reportedly withdrew, confiding only in her best friend. Her lawsuit draws significant parallels to Cassie Ventura's allegations, suggesting a potential pattern of gender-based violence by Combs. Neal discovered that shortly after the alleged assault, Combs secretly recorded the incident. A mutual friend, Devante Swing, revealed to her that Diddy had shown him the tape and told her, "Everyone has seen it." Devante reportedly wanted to confront Diddy, but fear of losing a record deal kept him silent, reflecting the bystander betrayal that often enables sexual violence. Neal describes multiple traumas: the assault, the recording's humiliation, and the psychological toll leading to flashbacks, insomnia, and depression. She eventually dropped out of school, seeking mental health care for clinical depression and suicidal thoughts. During her recovery, she claims to have filed police reports in New York and New Jersey, attempting to retrieve the footage. However, those who saw the tape were allegedly too afraid to defy Diddy and refused to come forward. Her lawsuit also recounts an unsettling encounter at a work event where Diddy allegedly cornered her, knelt down, and insisted on his innocence, a scene witnessed by her employer. In 1995, Lamprose, another alleged victim, accused Combs of multiple sexual assaults, beginning in an event in 1995 and continuing through 2000. She claims he recorded them without her consent and allegedly attempted to distribute the recording. While attending a function, she learned that her boyfriend at the time was told not to date her after another man claimed he had seen the video. Combs' power shielded him, success wrapped him in a cocoon of invincibility. Warnings from those who tried to reach him were dismissed, as the demons from his past bled into his adult life. In 1997, a drive-by shooting claimed Christopher Wallace, the Notorious B.I.G. life at just 24, marking a tragic turning point in hip-hop. But for Combs, it marked the beginning of an era of lavish all-white Hampton parties, known for secrecy and indulgence. These events would later become the focus of federal scrutiny. In 1999, Combs' untouchable persona began to crack. In April, he faced 2 felony charges after a violent confrontation with record executive Steve Stout. Despite this, a public apology and a reported $500,000 payment led to the charges fading, with Combs only agreeing to a single day of anger management. Just months later, he faced legal trouble again, after a nightclub shooting with then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez and rapper Shine. Although acquitted of the weapons charge, the incident solidified his reputation for operating above the law. But this story isn't over. The infamous parties casting long shadows now haunt Combs' legacy, with survivors and witnesses of his rise finally coming forward. In the next episode, we'll explore these accounts, the secrets they've held, and the dark truths beneath the glamorous facade. Diddy Combs. What other revelations await? Will Combs' past continue to shape his future? Stay tuned as we dive deeper into this docuseries, Surviving Diddy, as we work to unveil the story of a controversial hip-hop figure and what remains beneath the surface.